Hi guys. Hi Marina.
Hi.
What's going on? What's new?
Hey. Yeah.
Real life, yeah.
Okay. Very well. Yeah. Hey. Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me over. Yeah. Last time we spoke about was a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it like a short introduction.
Sure. My name is Marina Khaustova. I'm Chief Executive Officer of Crystal Blockchain. We are providing a solution for the companies who are exposed to digital assets so they can safely verify the transactions and make sure that the transactions they are monitoring are not connected to any suspicious activity. And this solution has been in development since 2016, and we are during the last couple of years we are actively we're in the market and selling this successfully to the financial institutions all over the world.
And what was the motivation why you moved from US and joined to this team?
Well, earlier, before I joined the team, it was already several years since I actually joined the blockchain and started being involved into the world of cryptocurrencies. Actually, it was, I think, 2015 or sometime around that. And it was during these years from 2015 to 2019, it was curious for me what options, what is possible in this industry, and it was very exciting for me to see how it was developing, and it was always very clear to me that the technology that everyone is working on should be walking hand in hand with the regulatory frameworks, and I was when I was looking at all these news and all these FUD that cryptocurrency is somehow stigmatized or something like this, it was hurting me. I never wanted to see this. And then in 2017, when there was a lot of scam activity in the industry, it was also devastating to see how when the markets are uprising and the interest is growing, there's a huge amount of people who are just killing all that. So it was all very clear to me that there should be a solution that would allow to first destigmatize crypto and to make it, to help the adoption move even further to, complete the dream that we were all into. So yeah, Crystal, I was looking at this product for quite a long time before I joined the team, and I was looking at the core team of this project for quite a long time, and at some point, when I got this offer from Bitfury, it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. And what is looking you in this year? What is your next steps? What is your pipeline for the product and for your customers, for your partners?
For this year, for the 2020?
Yeah.
21. This year basically changes a lot of things in our industry. Basically, this is the year we were waiting for so long, and so many work streams and so many frameworks that people were working on around the world. They come into the final stage when they're going to be adopted, and basically this year and I would say the next year are exactly that time when this is going to happen. So what is happening is that the financial institutions who were previously staying away from crypto, denying crypto, or just simply saying they were not ready for this, they are started getting interested in this, or simply they face the need to somehow start at least monitoring what is exactly going on. And basically the large banks are coming into this space. So we start seeing this last year when basically several countries allowed their banks to start providing financial products related to cryptocurrency to their customers. And Germany was one of them, for example. And now we see more and more of those coming into the active phase. So this year and next year are the years of the banks who started adopting crypto. And of course, our mission is to help them to do this and to further move the adoption curve. Yeah.
And what is the most challenging for you personally and for your team?
Well, I would say that we are always on the edge, on this bleeding edge of this part of the industry, of this segment, where we are trying to connect such a rapidly developing thing as crypto and connect it to something that has been in place, into the procedures that have been in place within the financial institutions for such a long time. So basically, in crypto industry and blockchain industry always provides something new that needs to be somehow tailored, somehow adopted. So we need to, my goal personally is not to just deny these new things, but find a way to create a bridge between those two things that evolve and the legacy institutions that are happening. For example, DeFi industry. Yeah, you all see that this is something. It's been a hype train for the last month, and there were a lot of various opinions about that. And we've seen the regulators not speaking specifically about the DeFi, but outlining the peer-to-peer transactions and selecting them and putting them into separate bucket for observation, for future observation. And such a new things, they keep on coming, and it will happen like further. So it is important not again to outline them and say, okay, this is something new, absolutely unregulated, and therefore there's no place for this in the financial institutions pipeline. It's not what should happen. So my personal goal is to provide and to think about what kind of solutions can be defined and developed so that DeFi specifically may feel themselves much safer, and the institutions who want to work with DeFi could also feel themselves a little bit more protected when they are working with with this transaction. So that's the most important challenge. It requires us to move and to develop extremely fast, but also to always think about to invent these new ways of
and what do you think? Is it possible for any technology startups to become like a mega player? If you talk about, for example, Google or YouTube, is it possible, or like a Facebook, is it possible for the Crystal blockchain be something like the mega player in next 5 years?
Well, how do you define mega player? Is this kind of numbers or the functionality or the adoption? So
maybe adoptions, maybe your community strategy, maybe it should be like the next Elon Musk for the blockchain.
Well, we are serving the needs of the financial industry, and we are now very much focused on the blockchain itself. But if you look at the core of our business, we are more of a RegTech, and RegTech is a kind of a business that it is an underlying business that supports a lot of other activities. So it's something that is connected to the core of any payment related activity. If you look at this, if you look at this, how it's going to develop further, then I'd say we're going to see a lot of changes in the way the payments are going to be done in the next years, simply because of the introduction of the state-issued digital currencies. It's not a secret that everyone now is working on some kind of a pilot project or already implementing this in an active phase like China does. So basically some of these projects, we definitely know that they are going to be built based on blockchain. And that means that if you speak about the anti-fraud solutions or compliance solutions, they would have to marry again the old policies and the old procedures that they have and adopt what we do in Crystal. So basically, I see that this is the natural development of where we can go. And if we speak about the state-issued digital currencies, then definitely we're speaking for much, better scalability, much further scalability.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what is the next, like the 5 big trends and regulatory frameworks for the blockchain industry and for the for your business?
Yeah. So first, I'd say is yeah, of course, the DeFi. I would say this is something extremely important now for everyone. We are also looking at this industry with a great interest, and basically in a couple of days we are releasing a report on actually the peer-to-peer activity and its dynamics over the last years, where yeah, we're gonna just try to evaluate how not only how big is the market, but what part of this market is actually needs and can be observed and analyzed from basically our standpoint, how our solution can be deployed to these markets. So I believe that this has been of great interest also from various investigation agencies and from the groups that are working on adjusting certain legal frameworks around the world. So it's a great focus for everyone right now. And I think it's going to be for the next several months. It's going to stay the same. So yeah, again, our goal is to actually also look at this area and understand what benefit can we bring there, what clarity could we bring there, so this industry and this particular segment continues to grow and to prosper, basically. Second, well, I was previously speaking about the traditional financial institutions, specifically about the banks, who previously were staying aside from crypto. I believe this is a huge trend for the following several years. And I would say that we're going to see a huge diversification of the products, financial products provided to this market. During previous years, I'd say this was mostly done by very, specialized teams who just, started, made their names through the blockchain, and this is basically what's going to change.
And there is the best investment opportunities.
Well, I'm not no investment advisors on this stream.
Maybe for the venture capital and for the tech landscape, maybe it should be new technologies, like you say, or like a new business models, and like a strategies like the decentralized finance, or maybe something new, because it's like they look like the millennial capital, Robinhood, and something. Yeah.
That is true. Well, I can speak about our industry, our segment, and what I see is that our industry basically calls for more and more projects specifically devoted to analysis and observation of the various blockchains. because this is something that still we don't see a lot of these happening. There are still a lot of enterprise blockchains, and there is a
Mm-hmm.
certain third-party analysis software systems. I believe some big four players have announced that they have started working on this, but we haven't seen the final implementation as of yet. The industry continues to demand this. I believe the market, our particular segment, is going to be growing much faster than any of the current players. And the old legacy of the old players who were basically trying to cover everything and to provide a solution, for everything, for monitoring blockchain activity and transaction monitoring and investigation.
Mm-hmm.
These days are over. It's just, the market is too huge for these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. What is your advice for the startups who should survive during the pandemic?
Well, I
What is
believe.
your strategy, and what is your I don't know, some advices for the mental health?
Well, I believe that if they survive to this point, they're going to survive further anyway. And I have already heard that the strategy for the venture capital funds now is basically to, if the company has survived last year and have shown any profit, then this is a good thing. So this is where
Wow.
we're looking at. Or even if the company have started right after the first wave of lockdowns. So basically, I would say that after, like, the companies that have started launched last year or extremely, showcased extreme growth are the best companies to look at this point, because they have probably, they already are operating on a completely different rules. And those who have, prepared themselves to this knowingly or unknowingly, also, of course, worth looking at. We grew 4 times over the last year. And I believe mostly because we are already, we're not super much attached to the offline work. Have a couple of offices, but people were already very much used to working
Mm-hmm.
remotely. And it's not only about the remote work. You're right. It's also about the way the company manages to create a right psychological space around the employees, so they feel the connection, that the connection with what they do is actually unbroken, stays unbroken. And that's the most complicated thing, about it. I believe that for the companies, for the founders, for the owners of the businesses and the managers, it is extremely important to make sure the people stay, connected with the goals and stay connected to what is most important, by providing them additional conditions, to actually be able to perform that work. And yeah, I think that is the most important thing.
And interesting. What is the best skills needed to be a unicorn founder in blockchain, or in technology startup?
Well, how many unicorns have you seen
Maybe
in
maybe it should be
blockchain?
something about your superpower.
Uh, well, we are not a unicorn as of yet, so
In next 1 2 years.
yeah, something that keeping our eyes on, of course. Well, as a 3x founder, I must say that persistence wins, everything, and being resilient and being relentless in your efforts. I think that's something the most important thing. You may pause, you may get stuck into a lot of things, but being able to come back to them and keep in mind the large picture. I don't think I'm saying something very special and very unique at this point, but I believe resilience is it's not a constant state of mind. It's just a reminder that everyone should have for themselves. That this is where we all what we all should keep before our eyes. So yeah, I believe that's the most important thing. If you speak about the blockchain, we all have seen that this industry developed so fast and the rules were changing so fast that it called for immediate action. It always calls for immediate action. It still does. But if in early years it actually demanded you to act every time, and a lot depended on this, and how fast you could be acting. Now it is a little bit different. So the industry matures. The decisions that you make, they also should, I wouldn't say like mature, but it's not that about the tactics anymore. It's about the long-term strategy a lot. Yeah, I would say that specifically for the blockchain industry, we see how the mentality of the winners, it is also changing over time. It's nice to see that. Specifically, yeah, in my case, I can give an example. I've been looking at this. We've been working with a lot of exchanges, and these exchanges, a lot of payment processors and service providers, they had to make a different choice over the last year and a half, and this year is also the choice that they need to make, like what they're gonna do with this additional compliance costs. Who's gonna bear them? Like, are they putting this on the customers, or like because yeah, compliance is, of course, it is costly, yeah, for sure, and it is great to see how, again, the mentality of the founders also changes, and they start thinking more and more long term. Yeah, it's a good thing to see as a probably one of the veterans of the blockchain movement.
Yeah, it's completely different, the technology startups. But what do you think about crypto market? Is it like the huge casino, or maybe a really great idea for the retreatment fund? What do you think, for you personally?
Well, I wouldn't put it, into these two polar buckets. I don't think it's neither this or that. I believe that there are several goals. There are several important goals that can be achieved on this, long path. And one of these, I believe, we are close to this to see the state-issued digital currencies, which are going to adopt a lot from the blockchains and learn a lot from that. And I believe that this is one of the most important. This is going to have the largest influence probably in our lives in the short term. So to see these, I would say this would be a huge validation point. And for me personally, in terms of the coming back to your question, the question sounded like, what is this in terms of for me in terms of value? I'd say this is a great sandbox where we see how new things are developing. So I think these potential new things, these new ideas that launch there, new businesses that launch there, are contain the most value for me personally. And it's not only about just pure investments, purchase bitcoins and hold them until you're you're old. Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
And what is the future of the personal data production in blockchain, and what's going on if actually let's call it like a general data protection regulation rules? What is the news in next 6 months or maybe 1 year? Maybe something new about competitive advantages for the blockchain, for the DeFi and for the Crystal blockchain.
Well, GDPR and blockchain, I don't see how they are, can be controversial to each other. Because, and this is a question that I hear sometimes, about the protection of the data, the people who utilize the blockchain. We are mostly focused on the patterns and observing what's going on the blockchain without actually digging much into basically who owns what. This information basically doesn't have value for us, and neither has value for our customers at all. So most importantly for us is to identify what kind of activities happen behind certain transactions that we see, and basically we don't need to attach them to any people, and we cannot do this exactly because what you mentioned, the GDPR and everything. You won't find any person related data at all. But this is the value that basically we provide to the customers of ours, the financial institutions, who have the data on their customers. We basically give them an engine that can match the information that they have with the information on the blockchain, and we would never see, this match. We would never basically utilize it. So it all stays within the perimeter of this particular financial institution. So that's the goal. That's what we are working on constantly, to develop this kind of patterns, to observe the activity, and not to get involved into these with this particular personal data. Just not needed. Yeah, that's basically our goal. We believe basically that all the blockchains that we are monitoring right now, they actually allow us to do this, and um, our goal is to cover most of the most capitalized blockchains.
Interesting. And how we can use, for example, blockchain with machine learning and artificial intelligence, like in new technologies, and plus, like the one more question about actually social impact. What is best cases in blockchain for the social impact and sustainable investments?
So machine learning, well, in our case, that's exactly what we utilize. We train this kind of patterns and this kind of algorithms. So
It's really great. Yeah.
this is something that this perfectly matches. This perfectly works for us. Basically, we train our system to monitor, identify, identify types of activities. So let's say we can see whenever, let's say, a small service provider is operating, or let's say an OTC desk. All of them have a certain kind of patterns
And predictions.
Yeah. Certain sequence of actions that usually continues, and
yeah, interesting.
So if you continue training the algorithms to identify those, you actually don't need to say who's this, what kind of OTC is that. Just, give a probability. Okay, with 95% probability, we're sure that okay, this is the service provider of that volume is operating here, and that's enough. That's basically what is needed. And again, I really don't need any information about people on the blockchain. It's just something not of
It's
interest.
a great idea. But what is the next after that? How we can disrupt this idea, like the artificial intelligence do something new in next like 2-3 years for the finance industry, for the blockchain, for the actually something like the protect payment processing.
Well, the blockchain itself is
and digital assets actually. Yeah,
basically
it's really great.
That may be, the impact is huge, because we're all combating the money laundering here. And all fighting to make digital assets clear from again, as I mentioned earlier, from stigmatization. And people tend to point to some articles at some media and say, oh, you see here the large money laundering case has been revealed, and cryptocurrency, where people were paying each other in cryptocurrency, or here is a dark market. It was operating for several years and there was a lot of money there. But if you look at the numbers of money laundering that were happening within the fiat currency, it's incomparable. It's much larger. The problem is that, you can actually track what's happening with the blockchain, and you cannot track what's happening with the fiat currency. And basically, when we are slightly moving and slowly moving into the digital assets, that is supposed to bring clarity, bring much more transparency, and help us to change, to clean up basically the space we are all living in. And I see a huge opportunity in this, and we are working with the organizations that help stop the crime, and they also see a huge opportunity in this. United Nations involved in the Crime Stoppers International. Those are just a few of the companies who are constantly working. And their goal is to basically free our world from this kind of illicit activity. We are helping them as much as we can. And all the cases that you see in media where something illicit has been identified and the numbers are huge, you just need to compare these numbers to other numbers that are still stay undiscovered. Just know in general about them, but we actually cannot track them because this is a fiat currency. And fiat currency is basically living its last days, probably. Yeah.
And last question, what do you think about technology trends in this year? They talked before about like the artificial intelligence, decentralized finance, but what's going on in green energy, in green architecture, and medical segment? What like education as well, and gaming? And they talked before about social media.
Oh yeah.
How we can change like the communication and what's going on in VR and ER.
Well, yesterday...
And they talk about Burning Man actually last time.
Yeah, yesterday maybe you have seen the ARC has released their latest report on the industry trends and the investment trends. Have you seen it already?
No.
Yeah. I started reading this. It's quite huge. It's amazing. You should look at this as well. So basically, I like to see how trends are. How rapidly the investors have recovered from the pandemic stillness. There was some moment last year when everyone wasn't sure how things are going to go, and people were waiting a little bit and dust to settle up. But now we see the investment into Clubhouse. Yeah, you saw this.
Yeah. Actually, I wanna invite you to our the next stream.
Yeah. I love Clubhouse. Yeah.
Yes, next week. Please.
This is and this is an amazing example of the latest trends getting so much attention from the investors now. It's over 1 billion valuation. This is a drop-in chat app, and I know that this fact of this kind of valuation have infused a lot of developers around the world to create something quite similar, where people have a very limited channel of communication, but it's very easy for them to come in, come out, and share this content. And the app itself artificially limits their opportunities on this communication, but it results in a much better quality probably of the content. Clubhouse is it is not super I would say user friendly at that moment, but
really.
Well, when you subscribe to, I don't know, 50 or 100 people, the feed that you see, you just cannot even filter that. And you have to dig through that, and it's just, yeah. And, yeah.
I mean, it's really easy. Let's read something on the next week. And plus more question, how are you feeling female entrepreneur? Give the short advice, female founder, female CEO.
I've been in this industry and on the managing positions for some time. So for me, it is super exciting to see that it gets more dynamics now. But honestly, when you get used to this, it feels a little bit, yeah. I usually get very stuck when I hear that question. How is it different for me? I can say how is it different. I never was a man. Like so it was always complicated, and yeah. I believe that supporting women specifically in the area of development and product development, and specifically kind of, we still quite rarely see women in the products, like in the blockchain products. This is something that still quite rare. I think we should support this, and we should give much more opportunity to such products.
Wow. Yeah, it's a really great idea.
So, well, this is something, yeah, we work with a lot of development teams, for the integration processes and so on and so on. It's very rarely that you see.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do something together. Okay, thank you for this live stream. I was so excited.
Thank you,
A
Manal.
lot of invites. Yeah.
Very well.
Okay. See you.
Podcast. Yeah, happy to join.
Yes, exactly. Let's do something on the next week. Okay, see you. Bye. Have a good one.
Bye bye.